It's a great day to talk hockey with Grant McCagg on HabsCast.
Yeah, sorry, it's saying there was an error there, but looks to be okay now. It says you are live. So a good Sunday early afternoon to you. Hope you're joining us here after having a sandwich at lunchtime. Rick, they kind of needed that one last night, didn't they?
To say this was a big game is an understatement, my friend. And boy, did they ever come alive when they needed a big game. Mr. Saturday Night doing his Saturday night stuff. Habs played a solid game. There was the star power was there. The star players played like stars, and the support players gave the support the team needed. Everybody had a little something to do with the win, and it is exactly the tonic the Habs needed. So well done this morning, last night.
Yeah. It was well, by the time that the Canadians scored that eighth one, Patty's thinking, "Oh, geez, this is going to be like this. This is reliving, my past when I had 9 goals scored against. I better stop this before it hits 9." And he challenged the offside against his old teammate Zachary Bolduc. That wasn't very nice of him. Kid plays for him, and then he turns around and challenges the goal. It's funny, I saw, but I was sick. As it got closer to 9, geez. Almost waiting for Patty to signal for Mario Tremblay to come and replace him behind the bench for the rest of the game there. But it's I mean, that's the first game that Patty has faced the Canadians where it wasn't a 1-goal game, and the last 5 had gone into overtime. So, and it looked like it was going to be that again when they tied it up early in the third period, thanks to Brendan Gallagher taking a penalty with 6 minutes left in the second period that, it wasn't even in the defensive zone. It was, you'd think a veteran like Guhle would know better than to, he didn't have to even breathe on the guy, let alone put a stick in with 6. Got to be more clock aware than that. And Guhle, that's not the first time Galley's done taken inopportune penalties in the last few years. And you'd think, the most veteran player on the team would know better than that. But I think he was a little miffed too, maybe that the tackle about 20 seconds before that on him wasn't called. And then they called that. But anyway, thanks to the top line and their 13-point offensive explosion, the Canadians ran away with it in the third period there.
The thing with Guhle too, I think, Grant, is that first of all, I mean, Galley's been in the league long enough to know that he doesn't get the benefit of the doubt very often from the refs. I mean, how many times did this guy get killed almost in the crease area and nothing gets called on the poor guy, and it's been like that for years, and it's always been a bit frustrating because he's not a dirty player. I think he only has 1 suspension in his whole career for a few games of maybe 2-3 years ago, but he's a hard-nosed player that generally plays within the limits of the game, and they don't let him get away with anything. So when he got tackled, I think he should have known that it's just par for the course. And I think secondary becomes that he kind of knows that he's not the player he used to be, and it's more difficult for him. And sometimes guys like that will, force a play when it's not there to kind of to be a factor. He wants to be a factor in today's game, and he's trying to play physical, and he's trying to be hard on the opponent. And again, but it was not the right time. And when you have limited amount of ice time, and you recently got benched for the first time in your career, well, it's going to be hard for him to kind of accept that he has to have a lesser role and play it in a different way. And I think he was just forcing a play that wasn't there, and it happens a lot with guys who don't play a lot of minutes, especially veterans who are used to playing more minutes. And I think that was part of the problem. But then, as you said, when they needed, when you needed the veterans and the star players to step up, they stepped up times 5. I mean, Suzuki was phenomenal. Caulfield, of course. Slav was amazing. They were almost unstoppable in the third period, and I don't think anybody in the league would have been able to contain them the way they were playing in the third period last night.
Yeah. Well, Sorokin, who is a viable Vezina Trophy candidate, may have hurt his chances a little bit last night by, play. And hey, this is fire wagon hockey. How long has it been since we saw that in Montreal? Right? It's been, well, you could argue since the late '70s. I don't know if you ever saw fire wagon hockey.
Never, not like that. Not like
Really,
that at all.
maybe in the '90s a little bit, but it's exciting. And as frustrating as it is that the Canadians are in a tenable position when it comes to the playoffs, you can't argue with how exciting this season has been.
Yeah.
Go Habs 29 says, why? I guess a goalie guy. He's got the Ken Dryden mask there. Why was Fowler so deep in the net on the second goal? That's a good question. I don't know if he'd been watching too many Montembeault videos, or like they've been in the video room a lot and they keep seeing it and they just automatic. But no, yeah, that's uncharacteristic of Jacob Fowler to be back in the net so far like that. And I agree. I noticed the same thing. And he's been caught here doing something that he doesn't normally do. So yeah, I wouldn't read too much into it because Fowler is usually he's not the tallest goalie, so he's got to come out and cut down the angles, and as a rule, he does. So, hey, we all make mistakes. Matheson the game before, it happens, and I wouldn't worry about it to go Habs 29 because it's not something that you see frequently from him.
No, and Hutson made a mistake on the, I believe, the first Islanders goal, if I'm not mistaken, when he got it right in the middle, or was it on the second one where he tried to make a pass right in the middle and he got caught, and it happens. Unfortunately, it's been happening a little bit more often now that he's on his right side, and that's still something that has to hopefully be addressed
Yes.
fairly soon. But the thing with Fowler is he's a goaltender, and just like defenseman, it takes a few years to be consistent and always on top of things. And the truth of the matter is, probably for the next year or two, as Fowler establishes himself in the NHL, he will make these mistakes once in a while. What you hope is that they're not constant on every shot or twice a game, but just glitches here and there, and it's gonna work itself out as he gets experience. I'm not worried about that at all.
Yeah. Well, we got short memories because here's Louis saying Fowler still has little difficulties with the 1-versus-1. Yeah, I guess you're talking about breakaways. Well, most goalies have a little bit of difficulty with breakaways because they're breakaways. The game before, or 2 games before, he made a bunch of breakaway saves. So again, I don't think Holmstrom came in really fast, made a great deke. That would have beat a lot of goalies, man. He was moving fast, made a fantastic move. That beats 90% of the goalies in the NHL. It was just almost unstoppable because he was moving so fast, made a great deke, put it over his pad. I have no issue with Fowler on that goal. It was I give all the credit to Holmstrom for his for scoring. It was a very nice one. So I think I don't think we can, like, we're starting out here, we win 7-3 and people are talking about the goaltending, right? Like, come on, let's bask a little bit in the glory of scoring 7 goals for the first time in forever. But Doby will be in nets the next game. I think that's he's the starting goalie right now, giving up 4 goals in the last 2 games. They'll come back with him on Tuesday night, and hopefully he continues to play as well as he has in the last month.
Yeah, I do. That's how I feel about it too. And If you really have to criticize a goal, I'd probably criticize more the Schaefer goal than the other goal, right? That was probably a little bit worse. But again, it's not important right now. He did good enough to make them win. And in the third period, he made a few really good saves. When the Habs needed him to make a few really good saves, that's what we have to, I think, hold on to. He is a rookie, barely a rookie. I mean, he barely even played yet this year. And he's kind of the second goalie for now, in a sense. It's a kind of a platoon, but he's kind of more the second goaler, and he did more than well enough to give the Habs a win, and that's what's important, I think, to remember for last night.
Made the big saves when it was tied, so that's always
Yeah.
important. Here was the Schaefer goal last night. I was more about what concerned me more about that was once again our stout penalty killers up front there. Like, you know, I could have done what Evans did in this, like, and didn't even attempt to block it. You're not even like, I've seen that over and over again from Evans this year on the PK, where it's just he's kind of just there, you know, not really doing a lot. And his, I mean, they're 27th in the league again in penalty kill. They were 27th early in the year. Evans got hurt. They went up to 20th. Evans came back. They're back down to 27th. So he's not been effective for a guy. And it is surprising because he was very good on the penalty kill last year. But what I think is, you know, the common denominator here is last year he killed penalties with Yoel Armia. This year he's not. And, you know, the Canadians clearly miss Armia on the penalty kill this year.
100%. He was so solid, and he played it smart, and he had the strength and the long reach, and he did everything you want a good penalty killer to do. He worked off Evans well. I think the secondary point is just generally Evans and Dano on the ice together just doesn't work. They don't kill off penalties well, and they don't protect particularly well too. You got to split them up and see if you could find better chemistry between two other guys. It's really frustrating. I think also the issue with Evans is as he struggles defensively, he doesn't seem to read as well when to play aggressively or when to play more passively or more positionally, and he's kind of stuck between both of them sometimes. So on that one, he kind of wasn't really attacking the puck carrier, but he kind of wasn't really playing a strong positional game with his stick active and trying to break up the lanes. And then when the pass comes, he doesn't get in the lane, so he does none of the things you want him to do. He didn't cut up a lane, he didn't get good positionally, and he didn't play the puck carrier aggressively. So it's a problem. So I really hope they will eventually split up that pairing. I don't think they work well together at all. Maybe have Dano Kapanen and Army and when he comes back, Josh Anderson and Evans as your two duos. I think that would work probably a bit better.
Yeah, well, at least Evans or Anderson has a little more reach length there, where he can cut off passing lanes with his stick. Evans is not very big, and I think, you know, it's tough for him to get his stick in lanes at times. I still wonder if Slav shouldn't be tried. Get another big, you know, long reach guy that is good at intercepting pucks, very good at blocking shots, a lot more active in blocking shots than Jake Evans is. I think it's time to give Slav a look at on the PK. I'd even maybe take Evans or Dano off right now, have Kapanen, Anderson, Slav, and have one big forward, similar to what they had last year with Armia. One big forward and Anderson, one big forward on each unit, and then have Kapanen and Dano or Kapanen and Evans as the centers with Slav and Anderson. But they haven't given Slav any PK time this year, and I guess they don't want to give him too much ice time. He gets a fair bit and also plays on the first power play, but I don't know. Your best players, you see it on other teams, right? Best players play 22 plus minutes. Suzuki plays 22 plus minutes. maybe Slav should be employed like that too, and tried on the PK. Louis
Yep.
Garceau, whose glass is half empty today, fair to say. First of all, he talked about Fowler with his difficulties 101, and now mentioning, what do you think about Hutson having 0 points in his last 2 games? Trade the bum. I would bench him, Louis. 2 games, no points. Bench him, bring in Jackeye. What do you think? No, I'm just
No,
kidding.
I think
Louis.
these things happen. Yeah, but it does
Well,
speak to him not being as well. It's obviously not as comfortable on the right side. There's just too many.
yeah.
No, even the
And he
last
was
game, there was
robbed.
a few passes that were cut off. And
Sorry, he was robbed of an assist last night too. So really, he should have had an
yeah,
assist. And I don't think 2 game sample, Louis. That's pretty small. I wouldn't worry about it too much. Just like Fowler being too far back in the net for 1 goal against, or giving up a breakaway goal on a really nice play. It's uh, we're not talking about something that keeps happening. Unlike Evans on the PK, that keeps happening. So that's problematic. When something keeps happening, then it's a trend. If something happens once, or then it's just it's not something to worry about. I don't think.
yeah.
We need to reunite Hutson and Dobson. Yeah, or call up Reinbacher and play him with Hutson. But anyway, that's
Yep.
I get the longer that it goes here, Rick. Without if Reinbacher isn't called up in the next 2 days, Laval doesn't play till Wednesday. It looks like the plan is to just go with what they have and call up a couple of people at playoff time. But I wouldn't suspect it'd be Reinbacher, because they'll want him for the Laval playoffs, and they're not going to call him up not to play and to sit in the stands and be a black ace. It'll
For sure.
be to play 20 minutes a game for Laval on what hopefully will be a long playoff run. So don't expect, if Reinbacher isn't called up this week, don't expect him to be on the playoff roster unless there's injuries, and then they can call him up at that point. But somebody, Polly Legs, can you see Sammy Blais getting the call up for the taxi squad? I can, for sure. That'd be a guy, you don't mind him sitting in the stands because he's not in his development stage, right?
Yeah.
That's the kind of guy. That's the kind of guy I expect them to be calling up
Right
at
on.
playoff time. Maybe
Yes.
even I don't know, Bisson or someone like that, perhaps, for an extra defenseman. But again, I think they want to. I don't think they've got extra forwards, right? They even have Line that's not playing right now, so they have spare forwards, multiple ones. They have 7 defensemen. I don't expect too many call-ups from them because Laval is, could go on a good playoff run here, and they probably want guys. Although it's interesting, they signed Dylan Bentley, traded for a couple of players. Like, they are reinforcing the club a bit. Signed Luke Mittelstadt, so maybe with the added depth that they've made, and I'm sure there'll be a couple of guys that get, like Vinny Rohr, I expect to be there after his season in Switzerland. He's signed to an NHL contract and on loan to Zurich, so I suspect that he'll be coming over at the end of the Swiss season and adding depth as well to the forward group. So maybe they'll look at it and say, okay, we've got about 15 to 18 forwards here, Laval. We can spare a couple of guys, and certainly one of them I would suspect for the taxi squad, and a guy that can probably, won't hurt you at playoff time. In fact, may be effective at playoff time and was effective for St. Louis in their cup run back in the day would be Sammy Blais.
I agree. I agree totally with that. I think the only problem with Laval is I believe they have a bit of an injury situation right now at defense, so it's might be a bit hard for Montreal to call up somebody from in that position. I'm not 100% sure, but I believe that's what the situation right now. And very quickly,
Yeah.
Polly Legs is a great name for a character on the Soprano television show. It's the first thing that hit me when I saw that. But yeah, you're right on about Sammy Blais. I think he'd be a perfect call up, and I would not be surprised that he actually sees ice time come the playoffs. If the Habs find the physicality a little bit rough, he would be a perfect guy to put into the lineup.
Yeah, Paulie probably broke a few legs back in the day, eh? Yeah, that's it. I hadn't thought of that, but good call there, Rick. Thanks for adding a little bit of liveliness, a lightheartedness to this podcast. I want more, buddy. Keep it coming. Keep it coming.
All right, I'll try to get my comedian there, my lounge act, my Ricardo lounge act. I'll try to add that into the day show.
Yeah, well, you got Just for Laughs there in Montreal, so you should, you know, town full of comedians. Yeah, but let's see here. Well, have you ever seen such a tight playoff race in your life at this point? It's absolutely crazy. It looks like it's going to take, you're going to need 100 points just to even make the playoffs this year in the East. That's got to be a record. I don't think a team has ever, I don't think there's been a season where to make it in the playoffs, I think the highest of all time is like 97 or something for the last playoff team, if I recall correctly, for the 8th seed. So 100 points, it's the Eastern Cup looks like the, you know, for a lot of years, the West was considered the stronger conference, but now certainly depth-wise, the East, and they've been beaten up on the West all year. That's why, in large part, why it's going to take 100 points probably to get a playoff spot this year.
Yeah, you know, it's a cliche, but it's the truth. It's Habs have entered playoff hockey a few weeks ago already now, and it's a weird situation where you have to win as many games as you can, and you're kind of relying on your opponent. And so many teams got hot in the Eastern Conference at the same time. You know, obviously Buffalo exploded, Columbus got really hot. I think Boston's been picking it up a little bit. Habs have been picking it up a little bit. Ottawa had a bit of a surge for a while. I think it's starting to taper down a little bit, if I'm not mistaken. I think they maybe a bit recently. So that's, I think, the scary part for the Habs is that all of the teams are really at their best right now, or most of the teams are really at their best. So every game is going to count something fierce, and the next game is versus Carolina, who've been consistent all year. They haven't really faltered, and they've been at the top of the league all season. They play like their coach, you know, Rob Brainamore, in a very, you know, they don't give you a lot of time and space to make plays. So it's going to be a different challenge for the Habs, and how they manage the puck is going to be super important. So, boy, all these things are just. I think the Habs will make the playoffs. I'm confident, and this is going to be great preparation for them from what to expect once the playoffs start. They've got to be on top of it.
McDavid called the Western playoff race a pillow fight because every team is losing. Yeah, thank you, Francois, and that's pretty appropriate, I think. GB, this isn't the first time I've seen this, and I don't like the logic whatsoever. We don't want Slaf blocking shots on the PK. So you want him blocking shots 5-on-5, but if it's on the PK, no. I mean, that's when you really want to block shots, is on the PK, because other teams are really coming close to scoring. He block shots anyway, so you don't want him to help the team win because he might get hurt. I mean, there's no coach in the league that looks at it that way with that logic. You can't worry about a guy getting hurt blocking a shot, you know? Like, did Montreal worry about Guy Carbonneau getting hurt, so they kept him off the PK? Oh, he might get hurt blocking shots here. We better not put him on the PK. Well, he was the best shot blocker in the league. Of course, and Slav's one of the best. So I don't know. Have you seen his legs there? Did you see the other day the shorts playing soccer? I mean, the guy's got tree trunks for legs. You could hit him. He could play without friggin' neat shin pads, and you couldn't hurt this guy. You know? No,
Yeah.
you can't. You can't. I get what you're saying. He's valuable, and you don't want him to get hurt, but you can't approach. I mean, you can get hurt. You can get hurt on the power play blocking a shot. So you don't put him on the power play. He could get hurt 5-on-5 blocking a shot. So you don't put him out 5-on-5. You know what I mean? Like, it's just you can't approach it like that with a player. There's lots. Hey, if Nathan MacKinnon can play on the power play, Uri Slafkovsky can play on the power play, or I mean the PK. Right?
The thing too is that there's more to penalty killing than blocking shots, right? I mean, Slafkovsky has a long reach, he anticipates the play well, he engages properly one-on-one. I mean, he might be able to break up plays way before he has to block a shot, and he might do it pretty often. And second thing, as you said, Grant, I mean, the guys like him go to the front of the net, or shots whiz by them from defense at all kinds of speed. I mean, I think one year, didn't Brendan Gallagher break his hand twice from a Weber shot when he was in the front of the net on the power play? I mean, he's not blocking shots, but it happens. So, no, I agree. I wouldn't worry about it too much. You hope it doesn't happen. And again, I think he could do so well with his long reach and the way he engages and the way he blocks passing lanes that he will break up a lot more plays before the defenseman has a chance to take a shot on net.
Yeah. Louis is putting up Guy Lafleur stats. With the Canadians, only Guy Lafleur made 100 points or more. You're disregarding Mats Naslund, Louis. Back in the 80s, look it up. I think he had a couple of 100-point seasons, but yeah, there haven't been a lot of 100-point seasons since Guy. I mean, Guy did it regularly, but since then, few and far between. Mats Naslund and Nick Suzuki right now, Rick, is 6th in the league in scoring. Now, I believe the only player since Guy Lafleur on the Canadians to be top 6 in scoring was nobody. Mats Naslund finished 8th one year.
Really?
I think that was the best. So we could have our first top 8, top 6 scoring leader on the club since Guy Lafleur. So it's well overdue. I'm glad to see that the Canadians finally, again in my lifetime, after being spoiled by it year after year as an adolescent, they finally have an offensive juggernaut again, and it's fun. It's fun to watch this team.
It is, and we've said this before, Grant, and he's consistent. I don't think he has any empty net goals this year, which also means a little something. And he's been good without the puck. Like, we forget that he's been really coming along well without the puck. He's well positioned. He back checks. He puts an effort. He's become a more and more of a complete player, but his reads, I mean, everything about him, there's no fluky goals. It's just always well positioned, quick release, gets into the openings well, phenomenal aim on that goal. I think his second goal yesterday, right over the shoulder. This first goal, right over the shoulder. Jeez, that was not a fluky goal.
You're talking about Caulfield? You're talking about Caulfield?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, I was talking about Suzuki, 100 points.
Oh, Suzuki. Sorry about that. I got mixed up between the both of them. My apologies.
No, that's okay. And Caulfield might be the first 50. Well, he's on pace now for 52 goals. And the last one to do it for the Canadians, it was either Lafleur or Shutt. They both hit 60, and Lafleur had 56 one year. I'd have to double check, but it's Lafleur or Shutt was the last guy to score more than 51 goals. So you got to go back again to the 70s. But yeah, Caulfield, he's certainly not a one-trick pony anymore.
No.
or well, I don't know that he ever was, but that was kind of the thought that all he did was go to the side of the net and shoot one-timers. But man, especially 3-on-3, he's so dynamic. He's a fantastic skater, great edges, great stick handler. He can make plays, and kill you on a deke.
Yeah.
He can kill you going through 2 or 3 players. He can beat you with speed. He can beat you with his hands, and you know, just his ability to score goals from improbable angles is quite uncanny. He has scored so many goals that just the goalies have to say, "How the hell did he do that?"
Right. And again, sorry, Paulie, I did so much Caulfield that took over. And when you talk about points and goals, I kind of got caught up
No, no,
with that one. But what thing with Suzuki too, and again, people sometimes don't think about that is he's the Habs are one of the teams that often put Suzuki against other teams' better lines pretty often, and he's another one who's consistent. He worries about his defense. He worries about his offense. He shoots, he produces points in like just many different ways and many different roles and many different situations. So when you talk about guys who are everything to the Habs, I couldn't be any more right than that. I couldn't agree with you any more than that. He is everything for them because he does it in many different ways. In many different situations, and that blows my mind for a guy who's not the biggest. So for a guy who's not like, he doesn't have like spectacular skills. He doesn't have the puck and like a Stutzla or a McDavid that he just goes one area to the other and he takes off. He just plays the game so intelligently, and guys like that, they could do it in many different ways. And Grant, he doesn't miss any games. I'm knocking on wood there. I don't want to have to
yeah,
cause a controversy here, but he
yeah,
without being the biggest, he manages to always be there game after game. It just blows my mind. It's just incredible
yeah,
to see.
for sure. Louis saying, yeah, Naslin at 110, and Chat GPT gave me wrong numbers. Now imagine that, eh? Just about every friggin' time there, these, it's handy, but
Yeah.
you get caught. You gotta double check when you get an answer from artificial intelligence. There's a reason why they throw the artificial in there, because it's not always intelligent, their answer. But anyway, yes, I've been caught with that a couple of times. Oh well, they don't. They rush. Well, they have to answer right away, and they don't do all the research like we have to. But yes, I've been getting onto the main topic here.
Okay.
Marty St. Louis, if they miss the playoffs, well, there's people that even if they don't miss the playoffs, I've been getting, a few on live chat, but mostly, of course, on social media, on Twitter, where, there's a lot of, I don't know, morons. The, people suggesting that Marty St. Louis is not a good coach, and that if they don't make the playoffs, or even if they do, I think, and lose in the first round or whatever, that he needs to go. That the Canadians, I mean, maybe morons is a harsh word for it, but just impatient, and I couldn't disagree more. I do rail on Marty on occasion with his usage of certain players. Like, and I noticed, and it's funny, he got asked it a few times in the scrum, why did you not play Demidov in the last 7? Why are you playing Evans more? And then what did he do last night? He played Demidov a little more than Evans, and he readjusted it a bit. Sometimes you get caught up in the game, like Liam said the other night, and you don't maybe realize that you're benching certain guys, but he readjusted that, and Marty's been the first to say, hey, I'm still learning here. in terms of NHL coaching experience, he's still fairly a neophyte to a certain degree. But, you know, he has had 5 consecutive seasons. Well, not yet, but it's soon going to be, where he had a point improvement. 5
Mhm.
straight years. And this is with the youngest team in the league for most of the
Right.
year, and the
Yeah.
second youngest overall.
Mhm.
Uh, Also, the fact is, you know, it's been 9 years since they had a 100-point season,
Mhm.
and he's going to do that this year by all accounts. I would think they're going to hit 100 points. So there's that too. Their best season in 9 years. The 2 other coaches, Ducharme and Julian, couldn't achieve that.
Mhm.
And that was with a Carey Price in nets, right? A
Yeah.
Vezina winning goaltender, and
Mhm.
a general back on defense in
Mhm.
Andrei Markov, and a PK Subban, and then a Shea Weber. They didn't get 100 points with that group over the last decade. Um, and not only just the youth of the team, but the fact that there's so many offensive players. You know, it would have been easier back in the Terrian days to say to uh, a group of guys where the top scorer was 50, 60 points to play defensive hockey. You've got Price, stop the puck Price back there in nets. You've got, a solid defense led by Markov, Subban.
Mhm.
They had to play a defensive game, and it was all kind of based around that. Well,
Right.
Marty's got a team with arguably top 5 skill, maybe top 3 offensive skill in the league now. So you can't play it just a defensive game and only they need to be able to create. He lets these guys create because he's got that skill now. You
Mhm.
know, he doesn't have um, Rene Bourque in the top 6. He doesn't have David Desharnais centering a top line. He's got
Yeah.
he's got the friggin' he's got the horses, and
Mhm.
he lets them, make mistakes. So we have to keep in mind that, um, yeah, this club breaks down defensively at times. This club, it makes more mistakes than a Terrian club did a decade ago, but it's because they have more leeway, because they have the ability to explode offensively, just like they did last night with those
Right.
4 goals in the third period. And
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm glad that Marty doesn't quell that he puts up with the mistakes. He realizes it's a young team that's only going to get better defensively as they mature and gain experience, especially on the blue line. Like I talked about it the other day, there's nobody that's played 800 games on the Canadians blue line. 4 of them have played fewer than 221 games. Uh, 4 out of the 7. It's very green blue line. 2 rookie goalies in nets. Neither who are they're good, but they're not Carey Price good. So of course this team is not perfect defensively. Of course there's going to be gaffes defensively, but they're so exciting that they're on pace for 100 plus points for the first time in 9 years. They love Marty St. Louis. They buy in. They're not tuned out in any regard. And that's always like the most important reason why you fire a coach is when the players just don't respect them and tune them out. It's the exact opposite with Marty St. Louis. So,
Yeah.
in my opinion, whether they make the playoffs or not this year, 100% confident that Marty St. Louis is back next year.
Well, It's so hard for me to add much to that because you made so many great points, Grant, about the team's age and their defense and about mistakes happening when you control the puck and you try to make plays. As you mentioned, you could play a mistake-free game. The Habs could just dump it down the ice and not make any mistakes, really, but they're not going to do much either. I mean, that's not what you want. As they get experience, though, in managing the puck and making decisions on when the game is played at a quicker pace, they'll become a lot better for it. Sometimes you gotta let the mistakes pass for a little bit so that they do become better at it. Because if they just, if they just dump and chase all the time, they'll say, well, there's nobody who made any big mistakes, but nothing happened either, and that's not what you want. And also, I think that part of the thing too is the idea of what I love the best about Marty to me is that he promotes the players thinking the game for themselves. He's really big on that when he says, "No, you got to manage the game ahead of you. You got to, and people get fed up a little bit of these ideas or these concepts because sometimes it sounds a little bit vague. But I think at the end of the day, is he wants the players to be like almost independent of having to be over coached, where they know what to do on their own because they've learned how to think the game and they've learned how to make plays happen. And guys like that, that's Suzuki, that's Nick Suzuki, and that's the kind of player that he is. And if you could take, nobody's going to be a Nick Suzuki on the team necessarily, but if you could take that thought process and the way you interpret the game and the way you think the game, you'll always be good because it doesn't force you to rely on physicality, which sometimes if you're playing with an injury or if you get older, kind of diminish. But when you're really focused on the intelligence and the smart play, you could be good for a very long time in many different situations. You become very harder to defend against. So I man, so many great points, Grant, and I couldn't agree with you anymore. Absolutely, Marty St. Louis should stick around for a long time.
Yeah. Suzuki has 24 goals. Slav has 27. That's 51. You add in 43 from Caulfield. That's 94, right?
Wow.
I mean, they haven't played together all year, but still, most lines don't play every game together in the season. But that's going to be Montreal's first 100-goal line, and this was brought up by I'm not sure how you 411 Ronan 100 goal scoring line. All right. Yeah. It's been a long time. Probably have to go back to, well, I don't know if Damphus, Bellows, and Muller, I think, was a line. They may have scored 100, but if not, you would need to go back to Lafleur, LaRouche, Shutt as a line.
Wow.
That scored 100 plus. Yeah. So again, it's nice to finally be, to be alive for to see a fire wagon hockey again in Montreal. Because I don't know, when I was a kid, there was nothing more exciting than having 3 top 10 scorers in the league, and Stanley Cup champion team that were you expected a parade every spring. But yeah, it's great. And Ryan McDonough, or Ryan, not McDonough, McDonald, almost Ryan McDonough. Be cool if he joined the chat. Robidas, anything, St. Louis is amazing. I think Robidas gets a little bit, again, as I pointed out when I was talking about St. Louis, 4 defensemen with 220 games or less NHL experience.
Yeah,
They're going to have growing pains here. I mean, Robidas can explain it all. Nothing. You can have Larry Robinson behind the bench, but you got 4 defensemen with 220 games or less experience. Doesn't matter what you tell them, they're going to make mistakes. Like, was it Robidas? Was Robidas at fault when Hutson threw that pass? Like has Robidas been telling Lane, whatever you do, you get the puck along the boards like that, fire it right across the ice and try to put it through three opponents over to, to get it to the other side. Robidas not telling Lane to do that, right? That's Lane being a second-year NHL defenseman who tries to do too much at times because he usually gets away with it, making a mistake. It's not because the coach has been drilling it into him. Yes, I want cross ice passes from you, in the offensive zone when you're the last guy back, right? No NHL defensive coach in the league is telling his players to do that, let alone Stefan Robidas. But Roby is, again, I know I keep saying this, but just as maybe Ryan didn't catch that. I realize that everyone here doesn't see every podcast that I do. I'm up to 192 now so far since September.
Killer.
Yeah. He broke in for his very first game coaching a defense as a defense coach in the NHL. He had 4 rookies starting on the blue line in his first year, his first game that he coached behind an NHL bench as a defense coach. First time in NHL history that's happened. And by the end of the year, there would have been a 5th that they brought in. So never been done before. Rookie coach, 5 rookie defensemen. I thought that he did a good job, especially that year, in coaching these guys. Now he's put up with guys like Guhle. In the 4 years since then, Guhle's missed about half the games, so he's still only played 200 NHL games. He's still learning, and we've seen progression. Like Guhle's looking better and better here as he gets more experience. Struble, we saw some hiccups at times over the last 2 years, but right now Struble looks pretty solid. Robidas coached a rookie defenseman last year who won for the first time in 50 plus years, won a Calder, won the rookie of the year. Robidas was the coach of that guy. He deserves some credit for how Lane Hutson has developed as an NHL defenseman. So when you put all of that into perspective, when it comes to Stefan Robidas, what I was saying about Marty and giving him some leeway on the fact that was the youngest team in the league most of the year and now the second youngest. It's a defense with 4 players with 220 or fewer games of NHL experience. You have to take that into account when looking at the defense coach. I think Robidas is doing an okay job. I don't think, I would not be replacing him. I think he's been solid. And again, just like, would Robidas have been teaching Mike Matheson to do that play where he bobbled the puck and turned it over against Detroit? Was that Robidas' fault because he's been stressing? Yes, when the rolling pucks comes back like that, you try to take it and turn around, and instead of going behind the net, he wouldn't have been teaching Mike that. That's on Mike. Sometimes it's just you have to blame the players and not the coach when they're making mistakes back there, especially in an inexperienced group. And I don't necessarily blame them. It's just part of the learning process. So, no, I wouldn't be replacing Stefan Robidas. He's been part of this coaching staff that's improved every year. He's still got one of the least experienced defense corps, maybe second to Chicago in the league, and he's going to coach them to a 100-point season. So I don't replace Robidas either.
I agree, and he's it's not his responsibility, but he's also dealing with forwards who don't have a ton of experience, who make mistakes on their
Sure.
back checks, and sometimes the defensemen suffer the brunt of it, and that's not easy. And everything you said is spot on. I would definitely not look at Robidas. And I read right before coming on, I believe it was on RDS, that Caden Guhle after the game said to journalists that after the loss against Detroit, he said the defensemen sat, had a talk with each other, and said that they had to tighten up the way they play defense, and they were being a little bit too soft. In other words, they had to engage a lot better, and be a little bit more bulldogs that they had lost that, and they really wanted to change that. And boy, oh boy, talk about wanting to change that! Did Guhle ever change that last night? He was just incredible. What a phenomenal game, and they all played much better than they did against Detroit. But that, again, that doesn't speak about coaching. That speaks about the players having to play better, and knowing what they have to do, but not getting it done. And it's a long season. Everybody's going to have a slump, and it's going to happen to the defensemen also.
Yep. Well, Guhle here last night, quite the stat line. Let's just have a look at it here. A goal, 2 assists, 3 points, +3, 14 minutes in penalties, and this is only with 16:21 in ice time. 3 shots, 3 hits, 4 blocks. Nice stat line for Gules last night. And yeah,
I'd say.
Francois makes a really good point here, as well, saying Robidas may be coaching one of the worst defensive teams, but he's also coaching one of the best teams offensively. Habs D squad is number 2 in the league for points. Ooh. Yes. And again, this isn't the Michel Therrien era where, the defenseman gets the puck and it's up off the glass and out. Same with Julian, don't dare pinch or jump up in the play defensively, try to win games 1-0, 2-1. No, he's taking advantage of the skill set that, of the defense core he's been given. Like, you got Dobson, Hutson, Guhle, Matheson. When you've got this group of players, do you want them just to not to try to be contributing to the offense? No, you take advantage of that. And that's one of the things I like about this team is the Guhle, especially in recent games, he's jumping into the play. Struvel's been doing it lots. Carrier even does it. They all have the green light to join the rush and be contributing factors to creating offense. I like that. That's and it can't be discounted that the fact that Montreal, like, when you weigh the the offense that it brings against the defense, it's still, it balances out pretty nicely in their favor of being an above average defense group, because, hey, offense from defense is important too, not just what they do defensively.
Yep, right on. A lot of plays, a lot of plays stay in the offensive zone because of that defense squad, and they lead to goals. They might not get the points too, but they keep the plays alive, and that's a great quality for the Habs.
Yeah. Come on, people, only 20 likes. Press the like button. It's really not that hard. And it's free. Yep. Thank you, Movies to Share. Couldn't have said it better myself. All right, Rick, you ready? You ready for your draft prospect of the week?
Yes, I am, sir.
Have you you got the proper pronunciation all down pat here on this Russian kid? All right. Let's go for it here.
We're going with Gleb Pugachev, right winger from Torpedo in the MHL, left winger, sorry. 6'3", 198. So here he is. He's a physical beast, really strong. This is him on the penalty kill. Steals the puck. Nice one-on-one move. He's got really, he's got nice hands. They're not bad. He's not the best skater. I think he's just okay, but he can get by. He is with a good one-timer also. A lot of the offense goes through him on this team. He does a lot of special teams assignments. Here he goes with another nice goal. He's going to come and watch this. Nice. Deke comes in. Nice goal. So he could produce some offense. He's a goal scorer. But he could also move the puck pretty well. So here he is, another one where he's going to really come in really nicely. And there's another goal. Really good shot on net. Quick release. He's got good hands. His playmaking ability solid too. And you're going to see some of that here. Here he goes. Look at that. Takes the puck away. Boom. Nice pass. And it leads to a goal. Wins the body position. Quick. Spots his man really quickly. Leads to a goal. More assist here coming up. Here he goes. Steals the puck again. Goes in deep. And look at this little shifty move here. Finds his man. Just really plays the game, I think, in a really intelligent way. Another assist here, I think, is going to come in, and he's just going to get the puck again, middle of the ice. Nice zone entry, protects the puck. Another pass, another goal off the backhand, I believe, on this one. So he does a lot of things well. Here, he just really moves really well. Although he's not really quick, I think he moves well. Protects the puck amazingly well. Here he is, just deking around and drawing guys to him, forcing them to chase him a little bit. But he opens up space with his body and with his passing ability. He's going to move the puck a little bit more again and lead to another good scoring opportunity. Here he goes, wins the puck battle again. Look at him. He's going to just push the guy off him like he's nothing. He just can't get the puck off the guy sometimes when he goes, and then he places it in the corner in an intelligent way to keep the play alive. Nothing much came out of it, but he did really well on that one. Trying to remember all the plays because he had really a good bunch of games there. He is gets the puck out, 3 guys on him, and then he moves the puck there. That's the way he does. I also want to point out he's often the first guy back as a forward for his team. It happens all the time. And here he is in a defensive situation. They let him take the face off because he's good at it. And he makes some nice plays here. And they're trying to protect him. Here he goes. Big dive. Didn't really get to it, but love the effort. So he does that well. And you want to see some physicality from him? Well, you're going to see this here. Trips, gets up. Still going to finish my check. And look at the next check, Grant. Look at the next one.
Okay. I like that.
He's out of the game. The other guy was out, and unfortunately, they had to bring out the stretcher. He managed to get up on his own, but he hits like a freight train, and he hits a lot. In the MHL, he's got 10 goals, 14 assists in 32 games. Moderate numbers, but they roll 4 lines a lot on his teams. But he's also, as a 17-year-old, played in the VHL. 15 games, 1 goal, 5 assists. Okay numbers for the VHL, which is like the American Hockey League team of Russian hockey. As a 17-year-old, and Grant, he's played 13 games in the KHL with 2 goals, 1 assist, plus 7. Nice. So I like him. I think I like him a little bit more than most. But I'm a fan. I'm just every time I see him, he makes a statement. He stands out, and he's got that power forward aspect to his game that I really enjoy, and some intelligence too, though, Grant. He's not just chasing after everybody, but penalty kill, he's good, some good passing ability, nice vision. So he does a lot of things that I really like in a forward, Grant.
He's that might be somebody that, wouldn't mind the Habs drafting, right?
I would love it. To be honest, I would really like it because I think he would really be. I think he likes to hit. He likes to hit hard, but again, he doesn't chase after people, and he uses physicality to do more than just, chase after somebody. He protects the puck. He goes through people to get to the net. The Habs could really use a guy like him. I think he would fit so well on this team. I could really see him playing on the line with Cappy and maybe Demidov one day, and be a
Ooh,
physical two-way player if ever things really work out well for him. But again, it's always a big if, and he does have to improve the skating and especially the first few steps, the takeoffs. He's got to be a little quicker, but hopefully as he grows into this big body of his, that might happen. You really hope it does.
yeah. Well, at the U17 Russian team, he was the captain last year.
Right.
So there's presumably some character there too, right?
Right.
Which is nice. His penalty minutes aren't 34 and 32 in the MHL, so he likely doesn't take a lot of stupid penalties, but
Right.
I like that he's a physical factor, and I was all for them going for Prokhorov last year, but
Yes.
maybe he's this year's Russian Prokhorov to a certain
Yes.
degree. Right? Obviously
I
not
thought of
as
that.
big or as fast
No.
as
No.
Prokhorov, but yeah, looks like probably. Do you think 25 to 40 maybe is where you're looking
I
at him, or maybe 31 to 50 or something like that? Where
you
would you
know
slot?
I think most scouts will have him more in the 30s to see in the second round, 30 to 50 in that area. I think that's where they're going to see him. For
Yeah.
the reason, is that the skating is not the best. And
Yep.
the Russian, the fact that he plays in Russia and not they might not have enough access to him as they'd like to have would maybe worry them. I would probably, if I, when I kind of came up with my rankings, I had him a little bit higher than that just because he's a player that I like. But I think in the NHL, I think I see him going in the second round. That's
Yeah.
where I see him going.
Yeah, a little bit of that Habs biased in your rankings. I get guilty of that sometimes. Just to be, do your rankings by where, you know, does he fit in the Habs or not? That's why, I mean, maybe partly why I had Surin so high in my rankings, because I thought,
Yes, yes, yes.
this guy'd be perfect for the Habs. I still think that. As much as I
Mind
like
you,
my
Severn is doing good, Grant. It's not like a bad choice at all. You really called a good one on him. I
yeah,
spotted him, and he's really coming along well.
oh yeah, and
Yeah,
he hits everything.
yeah,
Um,
yeah,
that's the kind of cat I want on the Habs is Tommy Myers, big, tough,
yeah,
and angry. There you go.
yeah.
Yeah, I had a look at him earlier in the year, and I wasn't you know, uh, crazy about him. But it looks like, judging on those highlights, Rick, that his game has progressed as the year
Yeah.
went along. And you know, where are the Habs projected to pick? Do they have their own second round pick this year? I haven't really even. Uh, I I know that they
Question.
had two and they traded one away, right?
Right.
Uh, Let me just quickly.
Yeah, as you look, I do want to. The one thing about him, though, that to me I think is starting to come a little bit more is that playmaking ability. He's moving the puck a lot better than I remember him at the start because I saw him at last year and I saw him at the very beginning of this year, and I liked him. But the last two games I've seen from him from the last month, I thought his puck movement was quite a lot better. He's quicker to spot people, and the
Okay.
passes are getting on his teammates' stick, which is really important. So I think, especially playing in the KHL a little bit, has really brought up another aspect of his game where I think maybe, and I'm guessing, but maybe playing in the KHL has forced him to be more of a thinker and a playmaker because, well, he can't go through people like he did like he's doing now in the MHL when he plays in the KHL. So he's had to adapt. But again, in my opinion, in 13 games, 2 goals, 1 assist, +7 in the KHL for a 17-year-old, it's nothing to sneeze at. I think it's not bad. So I think
No.
there's some physicality, there's some strength, there's some ruggedness, but there's some intelligence there too that's coming along a little bit. And again, it's going to be the skating is going to be the big issue. He's got to be able to, especially the first few steps, he's got to be better at that. It takes him a while to get going, and that's something that's really, really important.
Okay. Well, according to Tankathon here,
Mm-hmm.
the Habs would be scheduled to pick 56 right now in the in the second round.
Yeah.
So he's probably gone by then,
Yeah.
I would think. Maybe, if they do like him, and hey, w- if we know one thing about Nick Bobrov, he'll have all the goods. He'll know, he'll know who his grade 7 library teacher was, and the whole works there. He'll have the goods on his character and everything. And if they like him, what did they do last year in the second round when they came across a Russian kid that they liked? They moved up
Yep.
and
They
grabbed
did.
them, right? So
Right.
if they move up and uh, I think this year, I hope they do. Last year I wanted it. The year before I wanted it. I think they've drafted enough skilled dangler guys in the top 60 in the past 3 drafts. I think it's time for them to go for plug-in holes down the road, like a guy that's a uh, top nine guy, and maybe it's third line, but the things that they're missing right now in the lineup, and they're not necessarily easy to pick up from another team because every team wants them to help win at playoff time. It's the
Yep.
big physical two-way um, uh, player that has enough skill that they can also uh, add some offense. And
Right.
I'm hoping that this year, that Ignatavicius kid, if they picked him in the first round and they got this kid in the second or something along those lines, I'd be more than happy that they're addressing needs in the organization.
Absolutely, Grant. I think spot on. And maybe if some of the guys maybe he's too high for the Habs in the first round, uh, and maybe the guys they like are picked. Maybe they trade their first round pick and move down and get 2 bigger guys that have holes in their
Sure.
games, but they're big, and you think that maybe one of the two could work out. Well, that becomes their power element to the game, and that could be an option. I mean, you got to think outside the box sometimes, right?
Yeah, for sure. Marlon Brando says, smash that like button, guys. Yes, and if you don't, you
Yes.
might, wake up in the morning with a horse head beside you in bed. So thank you, Marlon. Some people will get that reference, but
Yes.
I imagine you being a good Italian boy, you saw the Godfather movies, eh?
No, I haven't.
No, I
I
haven't.
watch like maybe 4 movies a year, and 2 of them usually are dumb comedies. Like I love slapstick,
Yeah.
so but I do understand the reference because everybody around me talks about the Godfather over and over again. But no, I don't watch movies at all. Like I haven't
Yeah.
watched anything. You could name 10 classic movies, and I guarantee I maybe saw 2 of them. Maybe.
I can't believe that, Rick.
I know.
Rico Springhetti has not watched The Godfather, the
Nope.
greatest
No, I
Italian
haven't.
movie of all time. Wow. Okay. All right. Fine. Mo Green. Yeah. Well, Tommy knows who I'm talking about.
All right.
Um, take the time to do it before put it on your bucket list there, Rick.
Oh,
The Godfather. It's
I heard it's long, man. I don't know. Is it
yeah.
long? It's a long movie, right?
Oh, okay. Oh, see. Okay. ADHD. Okay. Got it. Got it. Got it. You don't say no more. uh, okay. Well, let's get to my Habs draft prospect of the week.
Yes, sir.
Ah, he is Emmett Croto or Croto, however you want to pronounce it. The announcer's been saying Croto. I kind of lean towards Croto. It's maybe, but
Yes.
so I'm going to go with Croto. Um, he is a third-year goalie in NCAA. Habs picked in 2022, I think, or 2021 in the sixth round. So he's another one of these Vinny Riendo finds that they got. He um, is playing for Dartmouth, and they just won the ECAC Regional Championship, the conference championship this weekend. And in 2 games, he gave up 1 goal on 57 shots. So his save percentage was .982 this weekend, which is outstanding, obviously. And a Canadians club that's save percentage is about .882, having a goalie that had a .982 save percentage on the weekend, it made me stand up and take notice. But he's been, top 10 in goals against average all year. Save percentage is a little outside of the top 10. It's in NCAA hockey, there's a lot of high save percentages, but in looking at his tape here, unfortunately the 2 games this weekend aren't up yet. So what I did was I went back through my Instat, and there's a category called brilliant saves. And so I went through those, and I've gathered up what are his best saves of the year, I guess.
Nice.
I think it's a little a bit of hyperbole by saying brilliant, because very few of these were brilliant saves, but they're his best saves of the year. And I think what it shows is that, that 188 goals against average, a lot of it has to be given, the credit has to be given to the Dartmouth team in general. I think they've got a fantastic defensive structure, and really, out of all of these, I don't know that there's, to be honest with you, there's any brilliant saves. But let's have a look and see what we see from Emmett Croteau. All right, there he got to he'd left the rebound and kind of got to it, but they're kind of an unorthodox method of getting over, sliding over on his knees. What you're gonna see here, and what I've noticed, is just he is unorthodox, folks. He makes Dominic Hasek look like Marty Brodeur when it comes to technique. I mean, he is. I've never seen a goalie that quite like him, to be honest with you. He's unorthodox, I think, is the key word. There's one, and a bit of a flopper. He's got some gumper. He's a 6'4" Gump Worsley. Throwback to the. But look at him.
Gosh.
Hey,
what is that?
I don't know. But
he's making saves.
He keeps the puck out of his net. Yeah, he's entertaining, I've got to say.
Wow.
Look at this. I've never seen the like. I really haven't. There he got his arm up on it. Yeah, there is a bit of Dobie in him, but he's even more unorthodox than Dobie. Dobie's, again, technical compared to this guy. There was a nice save. He's got good. He's got very good pads.
Yes.
Quick legs, and that's his bread and butter. I do find that he's down low, like, there's all sorts of room up top there. And I think he'd get exploited at the next level with that. But he looks pretty small in his net in a lot of these. You can see he's on his knees, and he's like, his head is 3 feet off the ice. So, I mean, there's room up top, right? There he makes the good save. So, I mean, there's certain amount of athleticism there. He's quick, and he's 6'4", but his technique, my goodness, again here, like he's sideways, backwards almost, and stops the puck. I asked an NHL scout about him who saw him a couple weeks ago, and he said, "Yeah, he's loose, but manages to stop the pucks. So, I don't know.
Question, Grant. What is Marco Marciano thinking right now?
He's thinking, I'm gonna earn my paycheck. Absolutely. But look at this one again. Okay, he tries to, and then I think he got his pad on it. I mean, that was a brilliant save, but I mean, what was he doing trying to pass the puck up the middle like that in the first place? But then look at him again, like just I don't know if he's related to Dick Fosbury, who invented the Fosbury flop, but a famous high jumper. But I think they might be, might be in the genes. He's a relative of Dick Fosbury. I've never seen a goalie flop as much as this guy. It's, I mean, he gets it done, but look at it again. Like he's just. He's on his knees and his belly just about every save here. It's but again, 188 goals against average, man. 920 save percentage. Like he's getting it done. Now, realistically though, NHL teams would exploit the fact that he doesn't. There's a lot of empty net there. With the guys coming in on him, he doesn't. He's not protecting the top of the net. He's out of position quite a bit, especially when he's on his belly and on his back. When I'm looking at it, I say, okay, yeah, now I can see why there's not a lot of hype around him necessarily. Now, I guess he could be signed with Fowler probably up with the big team this year. Next year, sorry. I don't think any of these, like Miller's now, the Johnny Hicks is back in Denver, and he's the top goalie percentage wise in the NCAA. Miller was in because Hicks obviously was injured. Miller is not even playing the last month. He's obviously not coming out. And he'll probably be 2 more years at least. Volokin's under contract for another year or two in Russia. He's not coming over. Radkov's nowhere close to being ready to be a pro. So it would be Kroto or no one, and I think it'll be no one. I think Kroto goes back for his senior year. Does he get signed? Who knows? But I mean, credit to him for being one of the top goalies in the league and being one of the reasons why Dartmouth is a top 10 team this year. Like he gets credit. He deserves credit for it, but there's a lot of work to do, and I just he battles. There are some Dobie qualities there, similar to Dobish in that regard, but as you say, Marciano is sitting there across the finish saying, I hope they don't sign this kid. Because he'll have an extra 20 hours of work to do each week. But I don't know. At this point, I'd say it's a long shot that he gets signed by the Canadians. But there is I don't think there's anyone coming the next year or even next year that's been drafted in the organization, and they'll need a goalie. So maybe next year, if he improves his technique and has another big year stats wise, maybe they sign him and bring him in and try to, it might start him in the ECHL, but who knows? Anyway, I thought I'd feature him as the prospect of the week because of his,
Thank you.
56 out of 57 saves on the weekend.
Yeah.
I'll have a look at those games, and maybe over the past month his technique has changed, but probably not. He probably saved them with his ass and his head like he did most of these saves. But a nod to Dartmouth goaltender Emmett Croton this week.
That's he's definitely the most entertaining goaltender you've ever shown on this show, Grant.
Yes.
So thank you so much. I loved it. It was really good stuff.
Flops around like Mike Palmateer. There you go.
Geez.
Yeah. I'm old enough to remember the Gumper. But yeah. Yes, Cornwallis, the goalie that is 6'6". Yes. He's 6'4", I think. And also, like I didn't mention, he to me right now, Cornwallis is the top prospect, goalie prospect, and Volokin second, and then you just maybe Croton's third, maybe Miller, maybe Radkov, but I'd put clearly the top two for me right now are Cornwallis, who isn't ready to either. He's just getting started in college. So a couple of years for him too. He might be the next one that gets signed and is playing in Laval, but I think it's a year or two away for him as well. So for me, Cornwallis and Volokin are the main prospects. Croton, well, we'll wait and see, but I was entertained by that, and really you don't see any Rogie Vachon type glove saves from him or anything like that. So I don't really know how good his glove hand is, because I don't think any of those saves were with his glove. It was, flopped on the ice and hitting some part of his anatomy other than his glove and stuff like that. He's got good pads. Glove, I don't know. Not really sure. So anyway, that's a look at Emmett Croton. Hey, 6th round pick, right?
Right. No arm, no foul. It was a fine pick, and you take, especially with goalies, you never know, right? He could have been a superstar, and who knows? Like, there's no way to know with these goaltenders. But thank you very much for that. That was a blast. That's really fun.
Oh, geez, somebody here. Funny, I didn't see this, but way too small the net looks like Rogie Vachon. There you go. Yeah, but without the glove. Rogie made those spectacular glove saves, right? And another guy saying he looks like a big Mike Palmateer. Yeah. Well, I went with the Gumper, but yeah, some Mike Palmateer in him too. He's a throwback.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
Anyway, pretty cool. Listen, hour 20 into it here, Rick. I guess we'll let you go. You got to go see your mom and wish her the best. Wish her well on my behalf.
Thank you very much.
And,
thank you.
Enjoy. I guess we're getting snow again. Spring has been spring's. We've had a long winter, haven't we? This year, it's time.
Yeah,
I think it's time for spring to come.
I like today's weather. I like that soft snow and that mild weather.
Yeah, me too.
I took Barney for a long walk, and it was really pleasant. It was so much fun. It's nice. It's really beautiful.
No, you're right. I love it, but after 4 months of it, I wouldn't mind a 15-degree sunny day either.
Yeah, of course.
I think it's coming soon.
Of course.
But I might go for another ski. I went yesterday, and because there aren't going to be many more opportunities, and it's kind of a perfect day for that. So,
absolutely.
All right, Rick. Thanks again, as always. These Sunday shows are the best. And
thank you.
Tuesday night, are you Yeah, I don't know. The
I'm
girls will
good.
be back. You're gonna have a
Yeah.
big checklist and still be working it off, or you might be available.
No. I think I did a lot while they were gone, and I think Tuesday I should be around for to talk about another big Habs win and
Okay,
have a
good.
lot of fun with all the listeners.
All right. Well, we'll see you Tuesday night then.
Yeah,
It's a
absolutely.
date.
Thank you,
Okay.
Grant.
Okay.
Have a good
Bye,
night.
Rick. You too.
Bye.
Rick Springhetti, folks. The young lad's home this weekend. I stayed up till like I was I was on here for past midnight last night, so he didn't get much time. So I'm gonna wrap this up fairly quickly here. I'll go to a few more questions, but that'll be that. Um, can't go too long. People keep bringing up TJ Hughes. Do the Canadians need another 5'10", 5'11" center? I don't know. He plays with Hage. How often do you see guys playing college or junior that play together on a line that end up playing together in the NHL and reproducing what they did? Like, can you name more than a couple that, like, did Denny Sear and Denny Savard have great chemistry uh, coming from the Montreal Junior Canadiens? Was it when they played together in Chicago? No. I mean, you can go back over history. Uh, John McClain and John Tavares on the Oshawa Generals. Like just on and on. Like there's not it. You can't look at a guy and think, oh well, they're playing well together in junior or college. You know, let's play them together. I just I don't mind TJ Hughes, but he's undersized. He's good in college, but there's always good college players that, you know, he'll be a decent AHL player. He's smart. I like him, but do I like him as an NHL prospect on a Montreal Canadiens team with, uh, you know, Evans, Suzuki, Beck, um, on and on, these 5'11" centers, and they got to get bigger down the middle. Deneau's not physical, not big. Hughes is not physical, not big. Uh, I mean, Deneau's 6'1" or 6'2", but he's skinny. So I don't know. They signed Dylan Bentley, right? They don't have a lot of contracts. I don't think they signed Middlestat and Bentley. Bentley's probably their UFA this year. He's 6'4", big center, right? That kind of more fits what, if you're going to sign a UFA college guy, it was probably Bentley. I can't see them signing two centers. They drafted, Papanicus. They drafted a bunch of Jacky, yada, yada, yada. They're looking, I wanted them to trade for a guy like McCarron but what they're doing here is trying to get it through the draft and through free agency, I guess, is trying to find a big center that might be able to fit that role down the road. So again, no, I don't think that they'll be signing TJ Hughes. They have to use some discretion with their 50 contracts because they're going to need to sign Protz and a bunch of others, drafted players that aren't signed yet down the road, and then uh, use one of them on a free agent when they've already used one who's not ideally what they're looking for. Uh, you know, I don't think. And also, I mean, he doesn't play that much with Hage. Like Hage, they're both centers, and Hage played on the wing with him some, but Hage most of the year centered Horkov and other wingers and didn't play necessarily with Hughes other than on the power plays. So uh, anyway, I don't think that they'll be signing TJ Hughes, but I get asked that Don't feel bad about that question. I get asked it every game, every podcast. Speaking of goalies, I hope Stolarz is okay. Oh yeah, I didn't see. Mark, thank you for your insights, Rick. Loved your pick this week. Yep. Thank you, Mark. I appreciate it very much. There you go. Hughes is better off with a team that has a spot for him in the NHL. Yeah, well, there's that too, right? Hughes will have his choices of teams. And if he looks at it, he's probably like, I don't know. It doesn't look very promising for me to be playing anytime soon on the Canadiens. So Stolarz ate a puck in the throat during warm-up, courtesy of Nylander. Yeah. Riley out, they're really Matthews out, Riley out last night. Stolarz, they're heading towards a tank. Could be bottom 5 after all. Okay, thank you for answering. Makes perfect sense. Hey, Kurt. Thank you, Kurt. I appreciate you, everyone coming on, and we had a we've been over 100 here pretty much from the first 20 minutes on, so a good turnout on a Sunday afternoon. Thank you, everyone. And Sabres 13 wins in the last 14 games. Gotta love it. If you're a Sabres fan, I feel I'm happy for the organization, the city. I'm glad that they're having some success. Yeah, I mean, Columbus isn't falling off either. Yeah, standings are nuts, absolutely. But yeah, I hope you like the look at the pug. If you build it, we will come, Grant. All right, Mark. I'll do a podcast tomorrow at some point. I'll have a look at any prospects you'd like me to focus on here. I might do another Reinbacher. I did Jarowski the other day. Hage has been a little quiet, but if there's someone that one of you would like me to focus on here, let me know, and I'll do it up and do a video scouting extravaganza at some point tomorrow. Yeah, Washington and Philly are staying in it. Prots. Yeah, I haven't done Prots in a while. Maybe I'll do. Okay. Owen Prots video scouting report coming tomorrow, folks. Sound good? All right. Listen, I gotta go. Young lad I've been hogging the computer over the past 13, 14 hours. I've been on like 4 hours of it, so I'm gonna get off here, let him have his gaming room. And thank you, everyone. Have a great day. Enjoy your Sunday, and we'll see you hopefully for tomorrow's podcast. Okay, bye for now.